What's up guys, it's Avery here. As of September, I owe $647,000 and $493,000 respectively on both of my loans for my rental properties, or $1.14 million in total. Sheesh! That is a lot of money, and I'm going to need to mention my Patreon in many of my videos to get you guys to sign up so I can get some of that money back. So like I mentioned, I owe $493,000 on my duplex and $647,000 on my 3-family building. And I've spoken about both of these properties before, the acquisition, the story, the prices, and a lot of information surrounding both of those properties. So if you're interested in checking out those videos, I'll link them in the description below and you can learn more about each property. But when it comes to figuring out what you should do with your time, with your money, where you should invest it, how much can you actually make per month with rental properties? So currently I own 5 units, and today I'm gonna lay out how much money I actually make and how much it adds to my monthly income. So both of these properties are located just outside of the Boston area, and that first one, the duplex, I purchased at $525,000, and the second one, the 3-family, I purchased at $678,000. And both of them I purchased with a closing credit, which enabled me to put a lot less money down at closing and have virtually no closing costs so that I could put that towards a lot of the renovations that I needed to do on the buildings. And first, let's hop into the duplex and see some of these photos. And I know you guys are looking at this right now and thinking, wow, that is my dream home. That is a beautiful kitchen. I also thought the same thing when I was looking through some of these photos. Like, look at those floor tiles, that pattern. I could really do a lot with that. This floor specifically, I could play checkers on and maybe even do it on the ceiling as well, depending on if I painted it. So looking through these photos, I saw that this building had a lot of opportunity, if you want to call it that. So I was pretty excited about it and some things that I could do. And because it didn't look so great, I knew that I could take it from a place that wasn't so awesome to a really nice place, and I could rent it out for a lot more money than how it looked at the time that I purchased. So that duplex has a 4-bed, 1-bath upstairs and a 2-bed, 1-bath downstairs, and it rents for $2,880 for the 4-bed and $1,800 for the 2-bed. And I don't know why, but those specific numbers, I always have a really difficult time, honestly get a headache when I'm trying to add them up, and I'm never really good at doing that mental math. But I know a quick cure for that would be if you guys would smash the like button so I can feel a lot better and actually utilize my math degree to do some simple addition. So now that you've done that, we know that it's $4,680 when you add those two numbers together in total gross rental income from that specific building. Now, if you take into account the mortgage that I have at $2,830, I'm left with $1,850, and then I account for about $750 worth of expenses, or $1,100. Now, it's very important that you actually look at variable expenses. I harp very often on the fact that your rental income minus your mortgage is not your profit. You also have to account for things like vacancy, maintenance and repairs, capital expenditures, as well as many other costs that are associated with actually owning rental property. Very often on TikTok or Instagram Reels, I'll see people talking about their rental properties and they'll fail to mention basic expenses that you need to take into account every single month when you actually own property. And some people may think that that $750 amount per month is kind of a high expense ratio, and some people might think it is low. Personally, I think it is fairly conservative when thinking about it. And I was actually on a podcast pretty recently where someone was asking about the numbers for my properties, and before I could tell them my expenses, I just told them the rent roll. They went ahead and calculated the cash flow themselves, and they thought that I was only incurring $300 a month, or they only would account for $300 a month in expenses. Now, that would make me sound a lot cooler on the internet, telling you I had an extra $450 a month in cash flow, but personally, I don't believe that to be the case. I don't know, we'll see what happens in 10 years, what the actual numbers look like. But it's interesting, you see these people who actually have a lot of rental properties and think things very differently than you might think. So on paper, I feel better about saying that I get less per month in cash flow. And if I got more, that's pretty awesome, but I'm not gonna be the one lying about it. So pretty cool from that first property, just from putting 3.5% down, living in there for a year, and then doing some renovations myself, as well as paying for some other major items. Like I actually recently got the boilers done. I'm getting about $1,100 a month in cash flow, after all those expenses, which is very, very cool and something that I'm quite excited about, especially for my first property. And not only to mention that $1,100 a month that I'm getting from that property, but it has also increased about $200,000 in the past couple of years. So eventually I'll be able to do a cash out refinance once I have enough equity in the home. Currently I'm sitting on around 31% equity in the building, and I'll need about 40% equity, or I believe about 40% equity, before I'm gonna do that cash out refinance, because banks won't give you the full value of the home. They'll give you up to a certain percentage. So right now they'll give you up to 30% equity in the home that you have to keep in the home rather than giving you. So if I don't have that much more than 30%, it personally doesn't make sense for me at this time to do a cash out refinance just yet. I'll need a few more subscribers on my YouTube, a few more years down the road, as well as a couple more percentage points in equity before I'm doing that. All right, so that second property is a 3-family that I purchased just nearby. While we're waiting for the photos to load, I was listening to this really cool little tune on TikTok with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell, and it's really stuck in my head, so.
I could be brown, I could be blue, I could be violet sky, I could be hurtful, I could be purple, I could be anything you like. I could be...
Obviously those aren't the words, but whatever. So you guys can see in this photo here that this is the property in this 3-family that I got. It was a bit nicer condition than the other one, hardwood floors, nice painted. Maybe you could use a paint job for some of these, but granite countertops, some stainless steel appliances, which a few I've had to replace, as well as I've done over 2 of the bathrooms actually. But it really wasn't too bad of a little property, and it was interestingly laid out where it is a studio and a 1-bedroom, 1-bath on the first floor, and then upstairs is a 2-bed, 1-bath. So it's only 2 floors, but it is a 3-unit property. So that first one, that studio, currently rents for $1,550, and that's actually kind of on the low end. It probably should be somewhere around $1,650, maybe even $1,700. But the person living there when I was doing some of the renovations didn't want to move yet, and I didn't want to displace them, so I only increased the rent by $50 from the original $1,500 that they were paying. So not really a big deal. And then the 1-bedroom that I used to live in is now renting for $1,800. It's a very beautiful unit, super nice, did a lot of really good renovations. And then upstairs is now renting for $2,000. And this one for me is also quite difficult to add. I think it has something to do with the 8s. I don't know, never computed very well with me. But that one, after knowing that you guys have smashed the like button and me going off on the side and calculating it, is $5,350 in gross rental income. And right now my mortgage is $3,904. Let's just say $3,900 for easy math's sake. And I account for about $800 in expenses for that building. So that leaves me about $650 per month in cash flow. And again, when I was on that podcast recently, they said I only had $300 of expenses for that same building rather than $800. So right there, you could add $500 and $400, which is almost an extra $1,000 compared to what I think I get. So if you add that $1,100 as well as that $650, it's $1,750. But another experienced investor thinks that I'm getting $2,650 or $2,700, whatever the math is. And that obviously is a very big difference than what I think. And I'm just being conservative with my numbers. Again, like I said, if I make more, that's even better. And I can brag even more about it on YouTube. So $1,750, that really isn't too bad and something I'm pretty happy with. And if I wanted to today, I could retire on that amount of income. I'd have to continue living like a college student and really not do anything that exciting and live quite minimally and very frugally and be very careful about every single dollar that I spent. But if I wanted to quit my job, or I was fired, or I really didn't want to do anything but sit down and watch Netflix and make really average YouTube videos, I could do that with my time. But I'm going to continue working because I want to buy more cash flowing and income producing rental properties with all of that active income that I'm making. And there's also a lot of other really good things that people don't often mention when they're looking at rental properties. Not only am I getting this monthly cash flow, but there are a lot of great tax incentives like depreciation, as well as deductions, as well as other tax incentives for owning a business, things that you can deduct and whatnot, as well as the fact that the principal gets paid down every single month. So every single time the mortgage gets paid, I'm also gaining about $2,100 in wealth because that is how much the principal is going down at this current time. And then the other thing would be the fact that it appreciates in value. Both properties have increased in value quite a bit over the past couple of years, which adds a lot of money to my net worth amount. people will often have a debate between cash flow and appreciation. And cash flow will allow you to quit your job today, but appreciation is that thing that will make you rich. And I think I've struck a good balance between the two. It's something that I've been very excited about with both of the properties that I've purchased. So if you like making your money work for you, go ahead, check out my playlist, New to Investing in Real Estate, where I give some strategies, some things that you can do with your money, how you can sort out your credit, and other things you need to do in order to get started to actually building your wealth through real estate investing. And I hope you guys enjoyed that video and got a good understanding of how much money that you could actually make through rental property. And yes, I could make these properties Airbnbs or do something else that could really increase my cash flow, or buy cheaper properties where I could be making more monthly cash flow and put even less money down. But I think I've struck a really good balance with gaining that appreciation as well as that cash flow over time. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. Share with your friends so they can get motivated to start purchasing rental properties so they can really build that rental property empire. Thanks again for watching, and hope to see you guys next time.